Welcome everyone. We are going to be learning how to build credit with grade A trade lines. So if you are in the process of building credit, strengthening your credit profile, maybe even you have a good credit score, but guess what? You're still getting denied for things. Make sure to watch this entire video because I am going to be covering from top to bottom what banks are pulling from what bureaus, what high limit accounts you can get besides Navy Federal, and all of the top credit unions that you need to be building credit with so you can build grade A credit and your 750 credit score can match your credit profile. Let's get started. If you are interested in getting high limit credit cards, just like one of my clients here, make sure to watch this entire video because not only am I going to be giving you some of the top credit unions to do this same exact thing with, besides Navy Federal, of course, but I'm going to be giving you all of the game. So make sure that you have watched the entire video, subscribe and share it with a friend. Let's get started. Now, before we go any further, let's go ahead and get into the nitty gritty because that's why you guys are watching the video. You want the good stuff first, right? Well, I'm going to give you the top 11 credit unions before we go any further because that's ultimately what you guys want to know, right? The top banks to get a bag. Well, these are them. These are 11 credit unions that you absolutely need to get, or at least a few of these, because these are places that you can do the pledge loan hack. You can get secured loans. You can do certificate accounts. They're all good credit unions that you can build a relationship with, get trade lines with, whether it's a secured loan, a secured credit card, or just apply for a credit card with them. And later on in the video, we're going to be breaking down, where all these banks pull credit from, what they're good for, who should go where, some of the requirements that would make to some of the requirements that it is to join some of these credit unions, because a lot of these credit unions you can't just join, so there's like loopholes or you have to make a donation, something of that nature, right? But these are all grade A banks based on their asset size. It's not just because I'm pulling a rabbit out of my behind and I'm showing you a magic trick. Magic, here's 11 banks. No, these are the top 11 banks based on asset size. So this is facts, okay? The more asset a bank has, the more they are going to give because the more they are going to make. At the end of the day, banks are businesses. They're not making money unless they're giving money. And you have to have a comparable credit on your credit profile in order for you to get the money that you need. And sometimes that takes some time building up to that. Anyone can get a 700 credit score, but that doesn't mean anything if you're still getting denied because you don't have a solid credit profile. Your data points are not there, okay? And that's why we talk about getting grade A banks with grade A trade lines reported on your credit report and setting that bar higher for yourself. So that way, when the next bank comes and looks at your credit profile, they're like, oh yeah, Navy Fed, they gave him a 10K loan and that was really your secured loan, but maybe Navy Fed gave you a $25,000 credit card after that. So, I'm going to be showing you examples of that. And, just so you guys can see just a sneak peek, this is one of my clients, and this is a $30,000 credit card that they got. Just so you could see. Look, this is what happens. Soaked up all your video game. I'm telling you guys, don't play with this information because this is information you want to take action on. So let's get into it. Top 11 banks. Don't do anything until you watch the entire video because I'm going to be breaking everything down for you guys, and I want you guys to be fully educated, okay? Again, make sure that you subscribe, give me a huge thumbs up, leave me a comment below. Navy Fed coming in at number 1, BECU, Boeing, okay, that's great. Yes, just like the airplanes. And Affinity Plus Federal Credit Union, that's another hidden gem, okay? Marine Federal Credit Union, Industrial Federal Credit Union, Langley Federal Credit Union, Genesis Federal Credit Union, Hughes Federal Credit Union, Farmers Insurance. Yes, just like the insurance company. Farmers Insurance Federal Credit Union. They have a whole bank, my friends, and they give out the money, my friends, okay? PinFed, that's another one, high limits, but they are inquiry sensitive and balance sensitive. And again, we're going to be going over a lot of these little details that you guys need to know so you can make those tweaks to your credit profile before you just go and pull the trigger and apply for things. Don't learn and then earn. Okay. Last but not least is DCU. So those are just 11 banks. And I'm going to be breaking down who all of these banks pull credit from. Again, I put a list of all of these banks that we're going to be going over today in a list in the course. So if you want to buy the course and just skip the madness, link is in the description. Get the credit course, guys. Get it. Welcome to the channel, everyone. If you are new here, make sure that you have subscribed to my YouTube channel. Follow me on Instagram at Credit Coach Nicole Scott. I talk a lot about personal credit and business credit. So in today's video, I'm going to be teaching you how to build credit trade lines with grade A banks, okay? Because you are going to get what you give to your credit. You are going, if you invest heavily into your credit, you are going to get heavily rewarded with credit. Why? Because you have to have what's called comparable credit. Now, a lot of people, they, get all these credit building products like Chime and, Self and Credit Strong. Don't get me wrong. Those are good, but you get a 750 credit score and then you wonder why you still can't get approved for things. You have to have comparable credit with grade A banks. You have to have comparable credit. That is the bottom line, okay? We're going to get into all of the top banks that pull from Equifax, but as you can see on this list that's coming up in part 2, I've got 23 banks. Most of these are credit unions that pull from Equifax. So if you are someone that is looking for a ton of banks that pull either Equifax, TransUnion, or Experian, make sure to watch part 2, where we're talking about nothing but grade A trade lines that are going to help you build credit so that way your credit score can match your credit profile. It's all about data points and adding comparable credit that looks good on paper. So again, guys, if you haven't by now, make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel at Credit Coach Nicole Scott. Follow me on Instagram at Credit Coach Nicole Scott. Make sure that you've liked the video, comment, share it with a friend, and make sure that you have subscribed to the credit course. A long one. We've got 50 slides to go over, and I'm giving you all of this information. Like I said, we're even going to be talking about what FICO models the banks are actually using coming 2023, 2024, and who they're pulling credit from, because there are different FICO variations out there. There's not just the FICO 8 or the FICO 9. There's a lot of different FICO variations out there that banks are using. So we're going to get into all of that. We're going to be talking about the top credit unions to get credit. We're going to talk about using secured loans and secured credit cards to build grade A credit instead of Chime, Self, Credit Strong, Open Sky, First Progress, all of these other secured credit cards. We want to do it directly with the credit unions that are going to give us benefits in the future because we're building a relationship with them. A lot of these other banks that people get to build credit, there's no future value with that relationship. They're not going to ever give you an auto loan. They're never going to give you a mortgage. They're never going to give you a business loan because that's just not what they specialize in. But guess what? These credit unions, they have it. They will give it to you. That's what they specialize in. So that's who we want to be building relationships with. We do not want to be using Chime as our bank account. Okay. We want to figure out why we can't get a bank account, resolve those issues, and move forward. If you haven't listened to the Credit Concept podcast, I highly recommend you listen to that because it talks about how you can clear up your check systems report. It's very easy. A lot of times it's just a very small amount of money that's holding you back from opening up bank accounts with either check systems or early warning. Head over to their website, checksystems.com, early warning, and request your report. See if something is holding you back from being able to get a bank account, because that ultimately needs to be corrected before we can move forward. And sometimes that's just a matter of paying it. Debts sometimes just don't go away, and that's just how it is. We have to say, well, hey, I messed up. I forgot to close out my balance or whatever the case may be, or if I forgot to pay this overdraft fee. But let's just pay it, move forward, and move on, because as soon as that updates, it's no longer going to be affecting you and in a negative way. So banks are going to be okay with opening a bank account to you, so that way you can start building that relationship with them. We'll explore options for building credit, top credit unions, of course, besides Navy Federal. You guys know I love Navy Federal, but Navy Federal is not the only credit union out there. There's tons and tons of banks out there. So again, if you guys are not able to get into Navy Federal, watch this entire video talking about a ton of credit unions, ton of different banks that you can get high limits from, because it's all the same concept. And I talk about concept of credit a lot, but this concept is very similar. You build the relationship with the bank, you do a secured loan with them, and then you wait 3 to 6 months and then apply for a credit card. If you have to do secured, do it. You can get multiple credit cards. So generally your second credit card is not going to be secured. And then we kind of just date a few banks at a time, 2 to 3 banks. We're just kind of finessing. We got direct deposit in all of those because, of course, direct deposit doesn't need to just go to one account. A lot of welcome bonuses just require you to have a direct deposit that comes into the account in order for you to qualify for their welcome bonus. So a lot of these banks that we're going to be going over today, you can get $200 for just signing up for an account. Okay, just signing up. Get paid to do it. Get paid to, put 5 to 25% of your auto pay in this account and just let it roll. Okay. We're going to talk about what credit bureaus banks use, who they pull from. And a lot of these banks that we're going to be talking about today only pull from one credit bureau. So that is exciting in itself. We're also going to be talking about what FICO scores that these banks are using, and I'm going to be dropping some major credit gems throughout the entire video.